All right, all right, all right. Shalom, shalom, Sister Deborah, prophetess in the wilderness. Wilderness. And you know what? That's all right with me. Coming again on this Deborah platform with another message. And I will say, this is a lovely evening in which the Most High Ahia has made. And I, Sister Deborah, shall and I will rest therein. Coming with a topic, offend and offense. Offend and offense. Offense. Let me tell you something. This is going to be a wonderful topic, and I hope that each and every last one of you get something out of it. But and I'm sorry that I didn't go live because I was still running behind. So I say, okay, I posted, then I had to bring it down, and I say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna take this slow. I'm not gonna go live trying to rush this thing. I'm just gonna take it slow. So I poured off of going live, but I still hope that you still are able to get the message in which Sister Deborah is putting out. And it's important to get this here message so you know where Sister Deborah stand with being those who are offended or has an offense, having a time with that, feeling offense towards something Sister Deborah have said. Okay, I want to cover that because I want people to understand that is a serious issue with the individual who feel offended or offense, going through feeling offense and offended. Okay. Okay, so here we go. First of all, I want to say that I thank the Most High for dealing with me early this morning regarding this topic. I was asleep this morning, but when I turned to the left side, I kind of woke up. And the moment I woke up, the first word came to me, offended. Okay, and I was like, offended? I mean, believe it or not, I got up. I looked at the time. I said, it's time to get up anyway. And I said, I'm going to make some coffee. I made me some coffee and I decided to sit down. Yes, I went into the bathroom and there was a word said to me there. And it wasn't words to give me more information as far as offended or offend. So as I decided to make my coffee, and here I was here at the table and all ready to get into what this is that he spoke, offended or offend. And the first thing that came to me was, oh, this is a lesson he is going to give me, And what I did first was look up offended, offend, and looked it up in Hebrew, and it means something of a stumbling block being put before a person and causing them to sin. And then I began to look further, and I said, well, wait a minute, Father, I see this in Greek. I see this in Greek / strong. I said, well, what is this? What is it you're saying to me as an individual? When you give me something, you always let it apply to me first. Are you saying that I have offended someone or offend someone? And I began to just go into finding verses that surround offend. And he never said anything to me about, okay, you have offended or you offend someone. But what happened, I said, okay, I want to get in here and I want you to just tell me if it's something I done. I see this word you put on my spirit, offend, and I want to get in here and dig in here and see what I have. Could it be me you trying to inform that I offended someone? He didn't say anything. So I just, like I said, I started looking it up in Hebrew. Then I started looking it up through the verses and they didn't match. It didn't match. So here it is. I said, okay, let me look through this here. This here, I was going a different route in other verses. And instant, y'all. Instant. I had already applied it as he's speaking to me, that I offended or I offended someone. And all of a sudden I sit here and I'm just finding my verses. And I said, well, I'm going to write this one down, write this. I'm writing these verses, the chapter and the verse down. And I'm just writing a whole bunch of them down. Then all of a sudden, my coffee, y'all, I reached, and I don't even know how, I can't even tell you. It was off the chain what happened. The whole coffee went all over the kitchen table, all on the floor. I mean, to clean up, it took me about 35 minutes, or maybe a little longer than that. I mean, I had to mop. I had to clean the cushions on the chair. I had to clean under the laptop. All my pictures. I had about 15 of them sitting on the table. You know, everything I had was just Bible, soaked with coffee. And I'm wondering, what happened? What is going on? But you know what he did, you all? I was leading in the opposite direction of what he was trying to tell me. So his thing was, this coffee turns over, then it's going to cause her to clean. And while she's cleaning, I'm going to be speaking to her. And that is exactly what he did. He began to speak to me. And he said what he said to me all the time. He said, Deborah, how many times have I told you that you're running in your lane? If I said to you that you're running in your lane and stay in your lane, that means everything on the left and everything on the right of you, don't even look at it. And please don't consider it in back of you. Just keep running the race. You in your right lane. You're not interfering with nobody's lane. He took me all that route. And I'm just as cleaning. But the sad thing about it, everywhere I'm cleaning, I'm finding coffee. And I'm trying to figure out, well, wait a minute, I cleaned this and now this. Where's all this? It wasn't that much coffee in the cup. But it was him dealing with me in the spirit of wanting me to understand. You finna get in here and do a study and try to find if you have offended anyone. And while you at the word offend, look up offense. And I was like, what's going on? So when I was cleaning up, he told me, when you done, now since you looking up offend, look up offense. And he said, furthermore, I want you to understand, if I tell you you're in the right lane, don't worry about those on your left and in your right. You do not understand. People will slow your race with their emotions and their feelings and being offended. They would slow you down, Deborah, on both sides at the same time if you let them. He began to tell me there are those that's so rooted in emotions. Every little thing tap their emotions. And as I finished cleaning up and I sat down, and then he was able to deal with me. But first, let me tell y'all what he gave me. Out of nowhere, I keyed it up in offend in the Bible, and all of a sudden, he's not on YouTube. Young Hebrew man. Israel, I don't know if he's Israelite, but he was Negro man. No, I ain't even say Negro. He was teaching the lesson, real clean cut. And he was sitting there, and I said, I ain't never in my life seen this guy. Where did this person come from? It's here on my phone, y'all. And I'm on my laptop, and I'm looking at this here, looking up offend and offense, because that's what he told me. I want you to, while you looking up offend, look up offense as well. So as I'm sitting here, All of a sudden on my phone, I'm looking this up, and then I see this video where this man is at, and he's not even on YouTube, y'all. This man video is not even on YouTube. And I said, and his topic was offend and offense. I said, what is this all about? And let me tell you, he said, listen to him. And when I listened to him, I said, but Father, that is so sad. It is so sad. We are in the midnight hour, and everybody trying to find any and everything to bring somebody down. That is not something that's good, you guys. That is not putting a stumbling block in front of nobody. It is this guy. I mean, he just was speaking in it, and I was like, but Father, you were just talking to me when I woke up. This young man is, he said, he's giving it to you so you can have support in what you know that you are called to be, to say, and to do. And I have to keep giving you this to keep reminding you. I said I'm finished, but I ain't finished with you, because I'm going to be forever in the same lane you are running in. I'm going to be right there with you. So when people find time, he took me all the way. There are people on these YouTube. That's why I call it. Sister Deborah been calling it a devil platform since she's been on here. And it is truly what she called it to be. And many of you don't take it like that. But I'm not offended by that. You see? Now, when the Father told me the word offended, I said, oh, you saying that I have offended someone, or I offend someone? You know, I didn't even hear him say that, but I took on, okay, I might have offended somebody. I might have done it. Maybe let me look in here and read this word so I can fully understand. Did you offend someone, or did you do something of that nature? And what Ahia was telling me, you ain't done nothing. Stay in your lane. You know I got you there, and I'm there with you. Now all this mess on your left and your right, I'm not gonna be a partaker in that. But I told you to stay in your lane. So all this time he been telling me every week, stay in your lane, Deborah. Don't worry about what's on your left and your right. And please don't worry about what's behind you. Stay in your lane. And you know why he's saying that? He's saying that because there are so many distractions on every side. And he's telling me that through people's emotions and feelings. He said, how many times have you said that on every video you done had throughout it? People's emotions, Deborah, and their feelings. But what he was explaining to me, he said there are people on these platforms or after those that they think are servants of mine. Their intent is not to join with them, but to go up against them. Their intent is to ask questions that is irrelevant to the Father himself. And that's when he said that, I knew who he was talking about. He was telling me that's to get me out of the lane in which I'm running in. See, Ahia used that parable of the lane is a lane that he had ordained, predestined me to run in. And he is with me in this race. That's the only way I'm going to be able to see the finish line. But he's saying there are those that's going to come up beside you on each side, left and right, and they're going to be in the back of you. He said they get on these platforms, these devil platforms, and they listen to people just to find error in them. They even go on amongst those people just to see if those people are who they are on this platform, as well as person to person. These people are geared. They strap, they tie their boots, they lace their boots up to go after those that they feel They know something about the certain ones. They know something about it, but they just can't pinpoint it. But they are not after trying to see if you the righteous one or you the one based on faith and belief, or you're the one that he has called, elect. They just trying to tamper with who you are. So they don't have no limitations to where they go to see. They see you on YouTube, but their desire is kindling. I have to go in person. You see? So the Father was telling me that every move, I was always there with you. Because the intent is wrong from the beginning. The intent is wrong. And those who are far, but yet is on my left and my right, they get bent every time Sister Deborah says something that might be challenging them. Have you ever went shopping and bought something to wear, or let's say shoes? Let's use shoes. And you love these shoes. You like what it look on your feet. You tried them on and you walk with them and it seemed like it was okay. But when you got home and you went somewhere because you bought those shoes for a special event, or you went somewhere with your shoes on, it hurt your feet. The first thing you say is, I'm taking these back. This is very discomforting. It's not it's hurting. It's bothering my feet. I'm taking these back. See if I can find something else, because these are, when that's the mindset of people. They'll put that shoe on. They'll like that shoe. They'll walk in that shoe right in that store. But once they have had that shoe on, after they done tried it on, loved what it looked like on their feet, walked in it while they was in the place, no problem. But when they begin to wear the shoes now are not the shoes that they want, because now the shoes is hurting their feet. People like that are those who are offended at a drop of a dime. They are offended. As long as you're prophesying and you're speaking to the multitude, they don't have no problem. But when you say something that might cause them to be offended, then they got a problem. They got a problem. And they got this thing where this dog is on my left and he's looking at me as if I feel so sad for this dog. He's looking at me, y'all, like, oh, who's she talking to? He just looking so sad at me. But they get so offended. They get offended because you ain't, listen to how deep it get. I'm trying to call and you ain't answering. I'm trying to say something and you ain't listening. I'm like saying, Father, who do these people, they got me bent all up. And this happens when you start giving your numbers out. You start being there to answer questions, being there, because people, they don't have no problem with you as long as you're feeding them and giving them that what satisfies their flesh. But the moment you say something that caused them to be offended, then, oh, wait a minute, I got to. And I'm like, you got the wrong person. You can't come to me like that. I'm not the one. But I tell you what, there's a million others on YouTube. It's best you go that route, because Sister Deborah ain't going to tolerate that. People got bent because Sister Deborah was teaching from the book and left more than 15 verses showing them what I was saying. But what happens? Emotions is detached to feeling offended. Weak is detached with feeling offended. And I'm going to get on here and show you how easy one feel offended by Yeshua talking, and others just out of nowhere getting offended. And I see people really don't understand what you can say a 1611, you can say a King James. Let me tell y'all something. This book offends people 24/24. That means every hour, every second, every minute of the day, it offends someone. People are offended by the book itself. Let's give it another example. You hear the people, those who say they are the true Jews, and those are that say that they are the true Jews. When those that are the Bible speak of the synagogue of Satan, they are offended, not because the true Jews are saying they are the true Jews, but because for this one over here, which is the true Jews, to say to the fake Jews, it's all about, wait a minute, you're going to end up letting the world know, and you're going to mess up our money. But the world already knows. The biblical word got so many scriptures telling you they know. They know. But because of people also is caught up of being offended because of the way the fake Jews been taken over and have taken over, then even themselves are offended. And the fake synagogue of Satan Jews, they are offended because the real Jews are saying that they are the real Jews, but what else? And if we're the real Jews, then you're the fake Jews. And both sides are offended. Both sides are offended. Everything on the face of the earth, especially wickedness and sin at its highest, is due to people being offended. That's all it is. But Sister Deborah just said, don't play with me like that. You got the wrong one. You got the wrong one. Let me tell y'all. Last night, I went to pick up someone, and I thought the individual was going to take me and then keep the car. But I ended up having to come back home, and I was like, with the car, I was like, the gas, I got to put gas in this car. I don't want to stop in the city. I don't want to come through there. But my gas hand needed gas. And I saw myself instant get into a situation where nothing mattered to me. You better stand your tail down. And I say that here on this Deborah platform. I'm not the one. It's thousands of people on YouTube that might not never feel offended. It's best that you go to that end, because I don't answer to you. I don't have to accept your calls. I don't have to accept or respond to your messages and your long books that you're writing. I don't have to bow down. See, this is what I was explaining to you. People want so much out of you. But the moment you say support, when this here, oh, I'm going to do this, hey, I'm going to do this. Did you see? But then you're supposed to answer to everything they say. Every call, every message, every response. And if not, they now extra offended. That shows a sign. The individual. See, so many things he have taught me that lets me know people are not set up in the spirit of truth as they think they are. Because did you all know getting offended is not spirit and truth? When a higher woke me up with offended, the word offended, the first thing I did, I applied it to me. Even though I didn't know what he was talking about, to the fullness of what he was talking about, until he told me, I'm not talking to you. I wanted you to get into it and study it and hear this young man bring the message, and he brought it up, I would give him an A plus because it was like he was right in my chest of my life. He broke that thing down. You want to go downstairs? Okay, going down. I'll leave the door open. Go on. Going down to your cage. I'm not coming outside. No, Ice, go. Mommy not coming. No, baby, go on down. Ice, 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 Ice. Mama not coming. She's no. Look, Mommy not coming. Ice, Ice, please. Okay, look, go over there and sit down. No, go over there and sit down. No, come on. Ice, Ice, Ice. Ice. Get down. Down. Go. I rub you. Wait a minute. Go. Not right now. Mama rub you. Go. But what I was saying is the guy. This dog looking at me dead in my eyes. I cannot believe this. And this guy, I mean, he Ice, please. I'm online. I know you don't know what that means. No, go. No. I'm gonna get you. Go. As soon as I get off, okay? But this guy, he taught that thing about offended and offense. I mean, he taught that, he nailed it. I said, so that's why you wanted me to look up offense while I was looking up offended in the biblical. He wanted me to pull that too. He said they hand in hand. And I'm like, okay, but instant. When Ahia brings a word like that to me, first thing I do, I apply it to myself. The message, let me tell you something else I noticed. You can say some things and you can tell when someone is offended within themselves. It don't have to be the others offended with them, but they would be so offended because of what you're saying and want to make what you're saying about them. Totally about them. Now you can see the level of being offended, and offense is a mental situation. It is a situation that warrants tens, and it's not because of Sister Deborah. You know, this is individual. This is who they are. Okay? This is who they are. And they can't even shake it. They get too emotional detached to feel in a certain way when someone says something and they apply it to themselves. So strong. That's an issue, a serious issue. Think about how my daughter, my young daughter, I told her that I know you practicing witchcraft on that young man, and I don't like it. It's witchcraft and sorcery. You should have heard the voices out of her mouth. You can tell it was demonic because it was like you bringing it to the light. You did all these years, you never said nothing like that. That's not how she was saying it. She was saying things that didn't even make any sense. And you should have seen the sound of it. It's where I knew it was demonic. Because now I'm revealing to her that which I never have. And when the father say go, I shot into her and I let her know exactly what it is. And you've been doing it. He said, you've been doing it for a long time. And I just couldn't pinpoint what it was because you was my daughter. I couldn't believe that it was witchcraft and sorcery. But I tell you one darn thing. Oh, I shot into her. If I'm a person that stands on the righteousness of my Father and what he gives me and he shares me. You think I'm afraid of you? In the way you think, the way you feel, he keep telling me, stay in your race, stay in your lane. What is that telling me? I got you. This crap on the left and this crap on the right, don't get caught up in it. Because it's trying to slow your race, Deborah. You know what it's like. You ran track. You know, you got a scholarship to go to college in running track in high school, from the running track in high school and tournaments. So you know how important it is to stay in your lane. So I thank the Most High for that. And I'm going to go on and get involved in this offended. By offended all the time shows a weakness of dysfunctional. Let me say that. To be offended all the time shows a weakness, a dysfunction. Okay? A form of detaching emotions and feelings. That's sad. Because that's a dysfunction. That is a weakness / dysfunction. And when a person is not informed of it, they tend to let that be what their life is consist of. But it is a weakness and a dysfunction. Because you're constantly getting offended based on every little word someone speaks and says. And this page is not for that. We're not going to have that. Okay. Now, I want to go first to Matthew chapter 11 and verse 2. Before I go there, I was telling you about I was going to get the gas, right? And first thing I said, I'm going to pull up here. I'm going to pump this gas real fast. I'm going to get back in the car. I didn't want to go inside. I have an issue where people are hanging out at a gas station. All guys are hanging out at the door. I have an issue with that. To me, for business to allow them to do that, that's lower than low. That is lower than low. So I didn't want to stop in the city to go to this place. So I went to the one next to it, and I didn't see a lot of people hanging out. Yes, people were out, but not like at the door where you have to go in. And I said, you know what? Furthermore, I'm not going in. I'm just going to pump at the pump using a card. Do you all know that I get out of my car, making sure my purse is under the seat, my phone is down in the side, and I took my left foot out of the car. By the time I come up out of the car, getting ready to put my left, here this man come running up. Boy, yeah. Oh, boy, y'all should have saw me. Sister Deborah, look. You know what I told him? I said, you better watch that. You better watch that. He began to tell me, oh, ma'am, I'm so sorry. I just need this here. I need this here. I stay over in another part of so-and-so, and all I got is, I said, sir, you better watch who you coming up on like that. You better watch it. I know that you sit here, you see, I'm a female, and it's night. And you running up on me like that. I don't like that. You better watch that. And don't you run up on me like that. Because the way he was doing, he was running up on me like he's finna attack me. And if you're in need for something, you don't have to run up on me like that. Furthermore, the Spirit of the Most High would have told you, hold up, she's mine. You don't have to go that. You don't have to go like that. So he had to be the opposite. This woman to give you her whole purse. You don't have to come up on her like that. And what I realized once he started doing that, Sister Deborah just went into a defense mode automatically. But when I got my point across to him, he realized this ain't just no normal lady. He began to apologize. And I told him over and over, you're going to run up on somebody the wrong way and you're going to be out of here. Because that way, you shouldn't do that. And I pumped my gas. Put the thing in there, got in my car. He saw me get in my car. He seen that, hey, I said what I had to say. And he know right then when he kind of backed up when he saw me get into a defense mode. He realized, well, this ain't no just, wait a minute, hold up, ma'am, I'm sorry. Look, don't run up on me. What people don't understand, you flesh. Yes, you spirit, but you're going to defend yourself. Oh, yes. If you saw him, I don't even think that place had a camera. But I'm telling you something. If you saw how that man ran up on me before I even got out, I had one foot and the right foot was coming out the car. And all of a sudden he up on, whoo, man, I was so, and I saw myself, y'all. I saw myself in a mold of what I used to be. Who I used to be. And he saw that this wasn't no everyday lady. That the worst thing I could have done was what I did, run up on her. So I went into my purse and I gave him a lump sum. And I mean a lump. When I say a lump, more than what he was expecting. But see, he didn't think I was gonna give him anything. But it ain't got nothing to do with what you gave him. It got to do with people can catch you in who you are, in your flesh, the wrong way. And that is what had taken place when Sister Deborah brought forth how people come onto this platform and they do not respond or support in any way. That next day, I brought the lesson to support what I was saying. I brought the scriptures, but I brought the scriptures that night too. I at least had about 15 to 18. The next night I came back with about the same amount. And I said, I'm going to leave this up at least 2 or 3 days so somebody can get a grip. But I took them down because I realized, Deborah, you don't know what you're dealing with. You don't know what you're dealing with. Because people are offended when they feel you stepped on their shoes. Very offended. And I say, like you buying a pair of shoes. If you put them on and they fit, and then whenever you don't want them after you done got them, that's the mindset you're dealing with today. They'll flip the strip on you quick and take what you are saying and build up on it to make you the negative one. But you forget. I've been on here too long telling you I'm running the race. I'm in the center lane. Ha! I ain't got nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. I just got to stay in my lane and not get caught up with those on the left and those on the right, nor those behind me. Okay, let's go there. We're talking about being offended and offense. Okay, let's go to Matthew's chapter 11. Let's go there. Let's just start where it's at. I'm going to open this door in case this little dog want to go down. Matthew's, come on here, girl. What are you doing? Oh, Matthew's, 11, verse 2. Matthew's 11, verse 2. Do you know that me telling my daughter that, she was very offended, very hurt. She was so offended to where I think it helped. I feel that it had. Bringing that light in the midst of darkness. I don't care who you are. You are not going to wrong nobody as long as I know about it. Okay? I don't care who you think you are. Okay. In Matthew's chapter 11, verse 2 through 6. Now listen to this. In Matthew's chapter 11, verse 2 through 6, it reads, Now when John had heard in the prison the words of Hamashiach, which is Christ, and he sent 2 of his disciples. I'm going to go on and read it the way it's printed in this book, this King James book. Okay, let's go again. Matthew's chapter 11, verse 2. Now when John had heard in the prison that the works of Christ. Now, John heard. You notice he said in prison, the works of the power. He didn't say of Yeshua. He said of the power. See, because he knew who the power was. He didn't know who Yeshua was. So he wasn't sure about Yeshua, but he wanted to know, wait a minute, in prison. Let's go to verse 2. Matthew's chapter 11, verse 2. Now when John had heard in the prison the works of Christ, which is the power, he sent 2 of his disciples. And he said unto him, Are thou he that should come? Or do we look for another? John knew that when the power came, you got to decrease because the power has increased. Okay, so you have to decrease. So John is saying in verse 3, and said unto him, are thou he that should come? Or do we look for another? Verse 4, Yeshua answered and said unto him, go and show John again these things which ye do hear and see out of their own eyes. And what is it they seeing and hear? They seeing the power, okay, and hearing. See and hear. Deaf, ears open, dumb, mouth speaking. So he's telling him to go. It says, Yeshua said, go show John again those things which ye do hear and see. And the blind receive their sight, and the lame is walking. The lepers are cleaned, and the deaf, what I tell you, hear, and the dead are rising up. Hallelujah. And the poor have the gospel preached to them. That's that hearing. Okay, so what happens? Verse 6, and blessed. Now what, and you wonder, what do this foot fit in? Blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. Go tell John that. Go tell John that. How you like me not? Don't be offended in me. Blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. Now, where do that come from? Where do that come from? You see, he's telling them to go and show John again those things which ye do hear and see. And he summed it up. And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. Hallelujah. Because what? He was speaking as John, not just in the flesh. He didn't want, no, that's what he was speaking of, John in the flesh. Don't be offended. This is showing you all that I don't care who you are. You can be offended in anything righteous and wondering, well, why am I offended? It's really where your heart is. So happens John was coming to decrease. He needed to know, is the power doing what it's supposed to do? And Yeshua went and had his disciples go back and tell him, yes, the power is doing what it's doing. And what happened? And blessed is he. Blessed are you, John, whosoever shall not be offended in me. So that was not just for the John, but that was also for the disciples. John's disciples. Don't be offended because all these things I'm telling you that is being done. Don't be offended. See, it was back then. So this ain't nothing new. People get offended in what you are saying because a lot of times the shoe first fit. And they trying to wear both of them. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they start to hurt. Because now they're offended. But when they went to purchase them and walked around and tried them on, they know their size. Now you feel offended. It's like with the shoe don't fit, don't put it on. then therefore you won't have to be offended. Everything Sister Deborah is saying, if you want to take it and apply it as if it's a shoe that fits your feet, you go right ahead. Because most likely it probably do. But it's not meaning that she's saying it for you to try it on and it's for your foot. But if it fit and you're comfortable with it, put it on. Matter of fact, put both of them on. Okay? Now, here I dealt with being offended. Why? Because look at everything that was being done. So I'm like, why would somebody be offended? But Deborah, your lane represents something. And anybody on your left and your right, let them be offended. Just stay in your lane. Staying in your lane means keep speaking spirit and truth. Keep running in the light. And keeping your focus on the finish line, which is him. Okay? Now, we're going to go to Matthew 16. And I'm like, offended and blessed is he, whosoever shall not be offended in me. Because I done all this here. I'm doing all these miracles and signs and wonders. Don't be offended. John, don't be offended. And nobody else in me. That's sad. That's sad. Offended because you doing all that? You sure? You sure HaMashiach through Christ? And they gonna get offended? He said he just making sure, Deborah. Just making sure they know. Don't be offended. Because of what I said. Because you see what I'm doing with the power. Don't get offended. Because they would, y'all. They're known. People are known to be offended. Okay, in verse chapter 16 of Matthew's, and we will go Matthew 16 and verse 20. In Matthew 16 and verse 20, we're going to start with verse 20, we'll go down to 23. Verse 20. Then charged he his disciples that they should not tell no man that he was Yeshua, the power. Another mystery. I had to drop that in. See how he broke that down. See, he broke it down. This is after Peter said who he was. Okay. This is after he gave Peter, listen to this, and I will give unto thee the keys to the kingdom of heaven. And whosoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be already loosed in heaven. Meaning heaven have to loose anything that is loosed on earth to you. And anything bind from you, heavens have to bind it anyway in the heavens. So heaven's got the control of everything on the earth. Now this is what he turned out and said. In verse 20, Matthew 16 and verse 20, then charged he his disciples that they should tell no man that he was Christ. Not Christ, Yeshua. Yeshua who? The power. Look how it says, Yeshua, the power. See, 99 point trillion would know that. See, he's telling them, don't tell nobody that he is the power. You see? Don't tell him I got it. Don't tell him. Okay? Okay, what happens then in verse 21? From that time forth began Yeshua to show unto his disciples how that he must go unto Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and the chief priests and the scribes, and be killed and be raised again on the third day. Now he's sitting here giving them the whole purpose of his calling. He's sitting here laying it out to them. He had just told them, don't go telling nobody now that I'm Yeshua, the power. Okay. And then he laid it out to them. Now listen to what happened. Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee. Why? Because now they offended. Offended because what? Because he told them the truth. see? So it ain't nothing Sister Deborah is saying. When you get told the truth and you ain't ready for it, and nor are you going to want to receive it because you think you are the truth, then you get offended and it's an offense to you. Someone's doing something to you. Now, what is happening? In verse 22, Matthew 16 and 22, then Peter took him and began to rebuke him. Rebuke who? Yeshua. Saying, be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee. What? You mean you've been walking with me all this time? You done saw all these miracle signs and wonder. You done just told me who I am is in me, is the Son of Yah. And you gonna stand here and rebuke me because I'm telling you what's gonna happen? See what I'm saying? That's a known fact. That's exactly, it's worse today. Because we're worse than our forefathers these days. It's worse than our forefathers, and our ways are worse than our forefathers. But look at Peter. Here challenging already. Now, this was no reason for Peter and them to do this, especially Peter, after what he just been revealed. But it don't matter, you guys. It does not matter. When people are offended in what you say, it's just locked in. And they don't see no other way. But let me show you what took place. So then in verse 23, Matthew 16 and 23, but he turned and said unto Peter, get thee behind me, Satan. Woo-wee! Now, wasn't this the one who just said, who is I am? And he said, the Son of Yah, the living Yah. And he said, what? Listen to this. And I said unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I build my church, and the gates of hell, this is verse 18, shall not prevail against thee. But what's going on down here? Verse what? 23. But he turned and said unto Peter, get thee behind me, Satan. Thou art an offense unto me. For thy Savior not the things that be of a higher, but those things that be of man. So he had to call Satan out from speaking through Peter. Is this thing deeper than that? Yes, it is, y'all. Because you're going to realize it wasn't just Satan causing Peter to speak in that way, but Peter himself. Now watch this here. Then said Yeshua unto the disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. Now, let me see if that's, and follow me. Right then, you see where Peter was allowing Satan to speak out of him. And Yeshua was saying to Peter, thou art an offense unto me. For thy Savior, not the things that be a higher. So those that be of man. That's going back. Sister Deborah could care less how people are offended because I talked and gave you all the verses telling you that how you build up your treasures in the heaven, it offended people. How you build up your treasures in the heaven, how Yeshua was telling them in the kingdom to the righteous one, that when you done this until the least of those, you have done it. The little ones, you have done it unto me. And who are those? Those are the righteous and the prophets, which are righteous. So when you're telling people how they build up their treasures on earth, people get mad at you because they don't want to build up on earth. They don't want nothing on earth. I mean, not in earth, how they build up their treasures in the heavens. They don't want nothing in the heavens ever. So you offend them because they don't want to know nothing about the righteous is saying to Yeshua, when did we do this? The little ones and the poor in spirit are the servants of the Most High, righteous one, and his prophets. He already didn't make that clear. He that give unto a prophet receive a prophet reward. No, You see, this the mindset that gets offended because you're trying to show them that you're not breaking and hurting Deborah. You're hurting your own self. But we're in such a midnight hour, people don't give a rat's behind if they ain't got no gifts in heaven. Matter of fact, they could care less if they go to heaven. They just want to role play it wise down here. You have that said that everybody want to go to heaven, but nobody want to die. That's a known fact. Everybody wants to say they gain an eternal life, but have no life in them. That's sad, ain't it? And have no light nor a light. Because he said what? The narrow gate is narrow, Deborah, and it leads to life. And if they don't have no life in them, then they're not going into the narrow gate where life is. They go into the opposite gate, calling it the narrow gate. But it's the broad gate they're going in. So you don't have no life, no light. When you're thinking with an offense, when you're offended, all the time somebody say something, that shows your weakness in your emotions. And people use their emotions to route their life. And they get it confused with something good. And they stand for something good. No, not your emotions. Getting offended every time you feel offended toward righteous. So even the verses and everything, it came from a deeper part of Sister Deborah. And I'm going to explain it to you before I get off of here. I'm going to break it down to you. What led Sister Deborah to step into that area is because Sister Deborah trusts in one after Ahiah told me some things and I went on ahead. So me being trusting in that which Ahiah said, don't trust, because I spoke to the spirit and told it what to do. And it did not. So therefore, you shouldn't have went in and did something a little bit different in the thought pattern, because you feeling, okay, surely if you say it this way, then this will work out. But if Ahiah said he already spoke to the spirit and it didn't abide by what he said, why should Sister Deborah step in and do the same thing in a way that I thought would, oh, truly, if I do this, it will make do a different result. So in a sense, I was disobedient to who? My father. You see how that played? I was disobedient and I got what I asked for. You see, I got what I asked for because he had already warned me that he had already spoke to that spirit. And that spirit didn't obey him. So when I went in to speak to the spirit in a way that I thought that it would change the mindset, and it didn't, I'm like, okay, Father, you told me, didn't you? So it's like he's telling me, now, see what happened? When I told you, I had already spoke to that spirit and told it what to do. If it didn't listen to me, you should have known it wasn't going to listen to you. And it didn't. And it didn't. But even the words of that spirit, it was just like, okay, wait a minute. So all of this was a setup. Yes. Yes. I said, you got to give the Father some praise. You got to give him some glory. You got to give him some glory. Because people will come into your life like a serpent sliding through the grass. And you know how a serpent will stoop down and see something? And once it's in his sight of control, shoot, and snatch that. And before that thing even can move, that serpent then snatched it and got it. When that happens to people all the time. And mine is a testimony that's showing me the midnight hour we are in is as midnight and evil and wicked as Ahia said. And with that, I began to teach you all about supporting Sister Deborah. So that's where that came from. Because I never brought that out. And I brought it out because Ahia had gave me the verses to support that experience. And when he gave me these verses in these chapters, I was like, oh, this is good. And it even support me teaching it so that others would understand that you sit around Ahia's elects, the righteous ones of the Most High Ahia, and you play and you turmoil around them as if you got power and you have nothing. You are not in control. People really, like I told y'all, I was telling y'all how people think what they have gains them the control over family members, friends, people on their left, people on their right. As long as I'm in control. And hell gonna be at every corner. And you ain't gonna know why. When I go here, these people give me a hard time. When I go here, these people go and give me a hard time. When I go to this place and this place, you know why? Because you are a hard time yourself. And you walking therein. And what I should have listened to is what the Father said. Because he said it to me about 3 times. He said, Deborah, I have charged that spirit. And it wasn't nothing he could do. It wasn't something that he could not. He wasn't going to go and force it. He wasn't going to go and put a hand behind the back and force it. Because he wanted that individual to really think and see you ain't who you think you are. Because I can. And I'm giving this to you all so you to understand you got bent for no reason. Thought Sister Deborah was talking to you. The individual knew who I was talking to. The individual knew who I was talking to. And they can say and think and feel whatever they want to feel. They are offended because Sister Deborah put it out on the airway and said it and called it from what it was in the eyes of Yah first, because he was the warner. Because when you get people and you communicating with people and people begin to say certain words to you, and then they begin to ask you for your email, then they begin to ask you for your phone number, then they begin, you be like, okay. And people who think they can use what little they have to control their way in, the way they got in their mind they're going to get in, then they would use that, you see. And with me, they didn't understand, baby. I've let so many strangers that I ain't never knew, not even on YouTube, stay with me. So it don't matter. That's just who I am, you all. And like I tell my kids, don't y'all do that. I tell them that now because they give money to people and people walk up to them, they be giving 20 and $30. I'm serious. And I said, wait a minute, don't do that. Don't do that. But you did, see. I said I was doing it by the Spirit. I was being led by the Spirit. When I let people into the household, I was being led by the Spirit, baby. You can't do what you see Mama doing unless you have the same spirit that Mama had. You see how dangerous they can find themselves in, thinking that they can mimic me and I'm with Spirit. They can't do that unless they have took on the spirit of the Ruach HaKodesh abiding in them. You see, you can't do that and letting it lead them throughout life like I have allowed them to do. So the reason why a lot of people got bent out on the topic because they thought Sister Deborah was clamming on top of their head. I knew who I was talking to. And that individual knew who I was talking to. You see? But only problem Sister Deborah had in her flesh is my father had already warned me. He said 3 times to me, I'd already told that spirit what to give. I already told it to the spirit, Deborah. And I went my route to see if it can be done. After the spirit had already told me, he told him did it 3. So the individual don't even know that throughout the life in which one would live, there's many things that's going to be denied them. And the material, the wealth or whatever they think they have that's going to deliver them, it's not going to deliver them in situations they're going to get into. It's not going to deliver them. And they're going to have to find that out the hard way because they got offended toward me bringing it to the airway. And I needed to bring it to the airway because our higher had already brought it to me. And I felt within myself that, you know what, Father, you chastised me, you told me, but I want everybody else to understand that you get on this devil platform and you thinking you pulling one over on the elect that a higher has predestined and ordained, and you are not. People come here, and I realized I had told my children already, these are two powerful control spirits. I told my kids that. And when they came and I told them, they said, see, you sure said it, Mama. I said, oh, not me. It's what the Father said. Control spirits. Control spirits. And I did not allow that control to control me. But what I messed up is that, and I'm not ashamed to say I messed up, is when I received that first song from them. Few days later, I'm on my way to where you at. And at that moment, I knew the spirit had already told me this is a powerful control spirit. And yes. And knowing if I say I'm on my way there, their spirit was trying those words to see if I said that you can come and reside with me. And I did, because the ignorance of those spirits, they didn't know that's just who I am. That's just who I am. I've been like that for years, you guys. So when the spirit reside with me, they reside with me 7 days. Because I said, well, no, you can come and stay here. You know, this is what I'm saying. Where I stay and where the airport or where they were going was a distance, you see? So I said, okay, you can come stay here. I had thought it over. Okay, let them just come stay here. At that moment, I wasn't looking for anything. Ahaya told me once they had left. You see, he told me then. They didn't do right by me the first time. They didn't do right by me the second time, because it wasn't that he was saying they, it was the individual, but they were both in the game together. So staying here 7 days, one might think because of what they gave was legit and was overly blessed, but they didn't understand, baby, you didn't count your costs. You did not count your costs. Because if you would have counted your costs, you would realize you didn't give me nothing. Because had you been out there by that airport, you could have had to get you a transportation. You would have went to the places that Sister Deborah took you. You see? And you would have paid. You would have counted the cost then, because it would have came out your pocket. But these type of people, they don't have no problem with that. Because Ahaya was telling me the picture was bigger than just that. These people were coming to pinpoint me. And even when they did come, let me tell you something. I didn't do things the way people want you to do it. The way they coming and plotting the way it's going to be done. I did it the way I knew how. You see? I did it the way I knew how. I didn't rumble in their way. So, in their mentality, they never thought, wait a minute, now, baby, we got to count the cost on this. No, because when you're thinking you smarter than thou, you really dumber than thou. Everything. Because you can be smarter than smart and dumber at the same time. And you're more dumber than you are smart. So people don't understand. When they think they're doing something, it don't mean nothing if you have not obeyed the voice of my Father. If you ain't obeyed the voice of my Father, it is nothing you can give me that's going to satisfy me. Because once he told me that, it wasn't even the next day he told me, Deborah, you are thankful. But that's not what I told from the beginning, the first time. Because he knew that that was a trap, a mindset. Let me send this here real quick. Enough time to get us into her surroundings. This will lead our way. Once we got our way, then we gonna go just go. No one never's called and say, is it all right if we planning on coming that way? Nothing like that. That's when the Father told me there is full control in that, Deborah. Full control. And I thank him for that. Because he really was. The mindset is fully in control of any and everybody. From family, friends, neighbors, everything has to be controlled by them too. And Ahia does not like that. Because if it had not been for him, I think him letting me know what I was getting into, that just shows y'all, don't ever think the Most High ain't going to be there for you. He's going to be there with you through the beginning to the end. And in between all that. And he has always been. He has never left my side. But that next day when I took them to the airport, first thing he said, now see, they didn't do what I told them to do. It was something the Father had said to one of them to give me. And they didn't do it. They did it their way. Because it was about their gain. Them wanting to set a pace to get here, to make someone think they were doing something. And then when I get here, I'm trying to make a way for me and mine so we can come in. You see? Without even checking with Sister Deborah. So Ahia had already told me, that's crazy. Deborah, the control is there. So I said, oh, that's what it seemed like, Father, y'all. And then he told me, but where I came in is a couple of weeks, that same individual, I went on to, couldn't find, because I got so many different people emails, and I was trying to find it. And this individual names are, I have two other people called that first name. And I went in there and I looked up the email and I said, okay, Father, I didn't even check with the Father. I just went in because this is in my mind. This is what's in my mind. Okay, Father, you said you had already told. I'm going to give them the benefit of a doubt and see if they're going to take heed to what you told them from the beginning. And the Father, when I finished, I went in and I asked as a loan, not to give me, but a loan. And what was said was not doing it anymore, not loaning anymore, got to invest in business. And I said to myself, Father, they don't even understand the words in which they speak it, nor to whom they speak it to. Because the business, it ain't going to be worth the dime. Not because Sister Deborah trying to pull a curse on someone or saying something, but it's to show you how I was wrong from giving them a benefit of the doubt that they would obey Ahia. But Ahia had already told me, he had said it to them 3 times and they didn't know it. So I'm like, okay. So that's where Sister Deborah was disobedient. But my issue was, don't come to my page. Don't come to my page with that game plan. It's not real. That's fake. I don't want, When someone make that statement, I don't do this no longer in any way, not any way, but I'm going to do it. I'm investing into a business. Baby, you don't know if you're going to be here today or tomorrow. So that's where your treasures are at on this earth. You see what I'm saying, y'all? So that's what kicked Sister Deborah off into bringing it full force to the platform so you all can understand. It's not going to be no more of that. I get on here, no one wants to support. Everybody got a reason why they can't support. I'm not asking nobody to send me money every week, every month, every year. Sister Deborah is not asking that. But when you get people who have been on your page year after year and still saying the same thing over and over and over and over, and you see how these people came on here and have been here a while and have the audacity to tell me that they watch your page all the time and every morning. And I'm like saying, but Father, you see that? You see that, Father? Only when it's convenient for them to think that they're doing something, then do they see fit. But the Father said, no, Deborah, I had told you 3 times. I had already spoken to the Spirit. They was disobedient to my 3 times. So I told you. So you did what you did. And I did it out of obedience, thinking that, okay, well, maybe if I say, but the Father said, no, baby, it don't roll like that. It's just to see, we thinking people are spiritual rooted, you know, in spirit and truth. Anybody, that's why I say anybody can say spirit and truth. Anybody can say a higher, a higher. Anybody can say I'm walking in the light. But a higher will show you up and show you out. Especially when you coming up against his. He will show you up and show you out. So in Matthew 16, you see how Peter came up against and rebuking a higher. But it was the work of Satan. Okay? Thou art an offense unto me, said Yeshua. You know, in a sense, stand your tail down. Okay? So let's go to Matthew 26. Matthew 26 and verse 30. A lot of people, that's why I say a lot of people jump on the bandwagon and overly do it with their emotions and their feelings and feeling offended because it's like, oh, she talking to me. Oh, she saying this, that because I didn't do this. No, baby. Let me tell you something. When you are walking in spirit and truth and you are in the light and you have been charged with a position, he have called you to stand in your lane. Baby, I'm going to make it. It ain't based on what somebody give me or do for me. I'm going to be all right. And like my ex-husband said, and just imagine, you was talking about going and try to get some money. So if anybody on YouTube needed something, you're going to send it to them. That's my mindset. That's why I'm gone. I'm gone like Deuteronomy. I'm gone. Because my mindset for other people is greater than what you could ever think and imagine. My own mindset is set up like that. And he was saying that, you sitting here trying to make sure you have something to where if somebody else needs, somebody on your live chat or somebody who subscribed to you, they said, well, you know, I'm in this situation, I need you. Bam, there it is. And he's telling the truth. But you know what, the reason why I know that who I am is when I was a little girl, I wasn't watching stuff on television like people would normally watch. I thought it was amazing for me to watch those babies in Sudan and over in different countries and in Africa with those bloated stomachs and their parents didn't have no clothes, no house, and all them flies. I sit up and watch that when I was a little girl for many years. I think I had to have been, 20 something when I said, that's it. I'm going to take care of all the poor in the world. And did you know, everywhere I go, I would tell people, I'm going to get blessed with some money, and I'm planning on taking care of all the poor. But it was this particular day, the Father stopped me. He said, Deborah, you need to stop saying that. I said, Father, that's my desire. He said, you can't. You can't take care of what I said will be here always. And in my little mind, that was good enough for me. Hey, I'm going to take care of all the poor in the world. Because I had been watching that stuff for so many years and seeing those babies and them big stomachs and them dying with them sunken eyes all my life, saying, I'm going to take care of you, baby. I'm going to take care of you. When I get something, that was my thing, y'all. That's who I was. That's who I am. Until the Father came to me, I think I had to be like 23. He said, you cannot take care of all the poor. I said, the poor will be with you always. So what are you talking about? See how he corrects me? Because in my little mind, oh no, it's something that's going to go on. And like my ex-husband was talking about, he said, now, you was talking about getting a little loan so you can have some money so you can help some of the people on your YouTube. I said, that's just who I am. I would get in debt trying to help people. But when someone think that they're better than thou, you go head on. It's a lot of people on here. See which one will be your next one you travel to. And good luck, because it ain't going to turn out like you think every time. Okay? So let's go to Matthew 26 and verse 30. And that just shows you how people got all bent, all out of order for no reason. And that's why I had to come back with all those other verses showing you. When you finish running your mouth, the Bible says your treasures in earth is built on how you give to his prophets. When you finish, and his righteous ones. And they are the poor in spirits. And they are the little ones. And Yeshua set the whole example. Matthew, Luke, Mark, and John. And everybody done missed it. That's why nobody build up on treasures in the heaven. Because they so greed down here, they want it for them and theirs down here and don't even understand. Tomorrow's not even promised to Sister Deborah. I can go in there and lay down and not wake up. So all that stuff is what people thinking that they gonna build on this. I'm gonna get this and I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get this and get this. And every time they get something, it falls straight to the ground. Meaning it's become vanity and vexation because of how you say you ain't got the right heart. Because you're building up on the earth and not for the heaven. And he's sitting here telling you that you can get a prophet reward. You can get a righteous man reward in the heaven. Who are you telling this to? Deborah, I'm trying to give the people an opportunity to build up in the heavens by giving those that I have servants on the earth. Now, if you talk about these pastors and all these people on YouTube that's racking up, it's one man, he be on there cursing, cursing like a chimney, y'all. Drinking liquor, and they started throwing 300, 200, 300 on his page. And I'm like, these people ain't saved. And the more and more I see that, the Father never let me get, how would I say it, jealous or nothing about it. I just look at, oh, those are lost souls doing that. That's how I see it. Those are lost souls. Now, why would a person follow Sister Deborah at least a year, 6 months, if you didn't think that she is someone sent by a higher? Why would you follow her? Why would you get on my page? Why would you listen to my voice? Why would you get on here and think that you're better than I am because you got a little something? Why are you on here? Why don't you get your own page and be righteous? So what happened, he says, they began to, first, the whole ideal is let me go see. We're going to see if this person all that she pretends to be. See, this Ahaya was whooping me with all kind of stuff. I was like, oh, Father. You know, but I love him. I love him. I adore him. Because he don't never leave me half-cocked. He do not. Anything that go wrong, anything that happened, he'll say, and this is what I say. I said, okay, you didn't warn me, did you? You didn't tell me, did you? And then he'll show me, take me back to my remembrance. And I said, you did tell me, didn't you? Every time he always warned me. And I ignore it because I'm also flesh. Okay. So in Matthew 26 and verse 30, let us read. We're going 30 to 34. And when they had sung a hymn, they went out into the Mount Olive. That's like a private place Yeshua loved to go. Then said Yeshua unto them, all ye shall be offended because of me this night. See, he telling them, he what is he doing? He prophesying to them, telling them ahead of time, you all are going to be offended because of me this night. He's telling this to his disciples in a private area. Y'all going to be offended. Listen to what he said. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. But after I am risen again, I will go before you into Galilee. Peter answered and said unto him, though all men shall be offended. And he was the first one, y'all. He was offended. Just that quick. Because of thee, yet will I never be offended. See? So if Peter, his disciples, one of the ones that the Father had given him, already feel offended because Yeshua said, you're going to be offended at my words. Now see here? At his simple words of what's going to happen to him, and they getting offended. He already knew they would. He told them ahead of time. And here go Peter. What did Peter say? Peter answered and said unto him, though all men shall be offended because of thee, yet will I never be offended. Verse 34, Yeshua said unto him, verily I say unto thee, this night before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me twice. It's thrice. That means 3 times. And listen to this. And Peter said unto him, though I should die with thee, yet will I not deny thee. Likewise also. said all the other disciples. All of them got offended. But did not he speak that to them before he spoke? You see how sad that is? So when people are getting offended, you don't even have to have a reason to be offended. You see, he's telling them the things that's going to take place. And that you're going to get offended because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. And instant, they got offended. Instant. Start boosting up against him. You see? It ain't that he said nothing bad. It ain't something that he did. This being offended is just a emotional feeling that people have. And they don't understand. That's that mess in your flesh. You better get in control. Because it affects your whole life and how you deal with people. If you don't know how to get your emotions and your feelings in control. Because it'll take you in all kind of weakness and dysfunctional mood swings all over the place. Because somebody said something. Take it for what they say. If the shoe fit, not just put one of them on, put both of them on and walk around saying, I need to deal with this situation. It's just like that message I gave tonight. How is it you're going to say, knowing who we are, without showing who you are? You know how much power it is to show who you are? Versus running around here wanting people to know who you are. Some here is gone because everybody already know who you are, except for you. You should be in this day and time showing who you are, not knowing who you are. Because we in the midnight hour, a dangerous time, like he said, like no other. And you run around here want people to know who you are, but you don't want to show who you are. So this here is another example of how Yeshua himself was explaining to his own disciples how they will be offended with what he was about to say. And before he was finished, they all was offended. Now, do that make any sense? You'll think they said, well, yeah, I hate that's going to happen, but help us to endure or something. Instead, they got offended right after he said you're going to get offended. Do that make any sense? So, let's go to 1 Peter 2. And I'm not going to be on here long. 1 Peter. We're going to 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 8. 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 8. And a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense, even to them which stumble at the word, being disobedient, whereunto also they were appointed. See, people don't understand. Your ways should identify who you serve. Your ways, because everything has been ordained, predestined, appointed, like he said. The disobedient whereunto also they were appointed. Appointed by who? By Ahiah. So a lot of people don't understand your eternal life has already been checked in. You got a ticket already on that. Is it eternal heaven or the lake of fire? All you have to do is look within yourself. Look within. You don't need nobody even to tell you. Are you following the voice of the Most High Ahiah? It's not if you're following man or woman. Are you following the voice of the Most High in teaching you this? He's teaching you. He said, you just study and let me teach you what you studying. I come to rightly divide it for you. So you know spirit and truth. But no, what do? They want to claim it in their flesh like they got the authority. They want to make their flesh get boast and pride minded. I'm spirit and truth. I have the light. But have you ever thought who really holds the light? And you have to have him first, not you. Spirit and truth is something that he teaches you. You have to study this thing and let him come in you and you in him, and he teaches you the spirit of truth of the whole matter of this book. No one's not willing to do that because they want to be the ones that knows it all and then try to tell his elects or his prophets what's what. The other day I taught a lesson and he told you straight through all them lessons, all them verses showed you how you told you anything you want to know, go to your prophets. In this day and time, they wouldn't give the prophets a day time outside of the false prophets. Like they said, Kanye and this other man is the true prophets. That's how they are. Look how the world following them now. You see, I see all the men in the Hebrew Israelite following the false prophets that they call the prophets. Men that's doing the will of the Father. And then here Sister Deborah is the prophetess to judge their butts. You see, it's a sad day in the neighborhood. And it's going to be sad. Because it is what Ahiah has already said. And here in 1 Peter chapter 22 and verse 8, and a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense, even to them which stumble at the word, being disobedient, whereunto also they were appointed. So you can stumble all you want over all those verses Sister Deborah gave you, telling you how you going to look at you for what you do to his prophets and his servants here on the earth. You're going to be judged and measured by that. You see? And Yeshua took the righteous one straight to the throne and said, this is what you were created for. He's telling it to the righteous. Then they get down here. We get down here and we looked at as the opposite, and it's okay. Because what he has to tell me over and over, Deborah, don't forget, read the prophets and see how they did them. And it matches. It matches me. I get on here telling people about how you need to support. And they act like you committed a crime. I'm like, if it's that bad, Father, I don't need to even entertain them, and they don't need to even come in my midst. That is so crazy. And I thank the Father for it. I think the timing is perfect because it leads me to understand that it's sad that you have to bring those type of messages to light in spirit and truth. And here it is. It's clear as day. And it always been. But what took people to respond? And if people did respond, it's because of the conscious, the awareness that this sister got a point. And I will tell you all, Sister Deborah is not doing anything to gain. Okay? Sister Deborah can't gain. The Father already told me I can't. You see? So it ain't about me trying to build up a bank account and build up money and treasures on this earth. Why would I want to build up treasures on this earth when I already know my treasures are only built in the heaven? Okay. I'm going to say this again because I think I said it once before. When I was young, I asked the Father. And this year, I call myself young, about 30 something. I say, so what is the purpose of you creating? See, you have to know him for who he really is and know that he rules it all. Y'all have to know him like that, like I know him. And I know that he created the rich and he created the poor. So I said to him, I said, I'll tell you what, make some sense with this. I had just moved to Georgia, and I remember I was going under the bridge to feed the homeless. Midnight hour, I don't care. I spoke to this one man. He had been homeless, I think, for like 20-some years. And he looked at ruddish. I said, well, what can I get you? What can I give you? He said, but I need a good pair of boots because it's winter. And I need a coat. You know what I did? I rushed to buy him exactly what he needed. And I did not go somewhere and get him the cheap of the cheap. And it wasn't about the cheap. It was what? Quality. Because if you outside, you need this. And next thing I know, the next time I visited him, he was in his vacant house. He said that's where he stayed overnight. And in that house, I never go inside of it. Never did. And him and I talked small. He said, I think he said he used to be an attorney. I was like, "Ooh, this man was so smart." But looking at him, you would never thought he was. And I brought him food. But the thing about it, smart as a whip. And he said he believed. But you can tell that something else was there. Okay. Sometimes you have to get past the mental state of mind. Like when Sister Deborah tell you all that it's finished and this is destroyed in the minds of Judith. It really is, y'all. It really, really is. But if they right with Yah, to lose is to gain. To lose this is to gain this. And this is him that's greater in us than he that is in the world. Tell me he can't control this. You see what I'm saying? This is how bent people are. They don't want to see that it's okay to destroy this. This is the flesh. He said, don't be afraid of the one that destroyed the flesh, but he that destroyed the flesh and spirit. So you have to know that the spirit, if a higher abide in the spirit, this ain't going to be all the way gone. It's going to be gone in the flesh, but he going to uphold it in the spirit realm. Okay? So as I was in Atlanta, and I was going to and fro different places, call myself doing the work of Yah, to the homeless and stuff like that. And I try to do right by them. I really do, y'all. And the higher knows that that's been my heart since I was a little girl, watching that on television and stuff like that. And I asked him, well, what's the deal? You know, what's the deal with the poor? Why would you want the poor to exist? And why would you want the rich to have more? Well, he said both of them work hand in hand. He said, how many hands you have? I said, I have two. What do they call it? A right and a left. But don't they work together? Yeah. When the right need help, don't the left help? Yeah. And if the left need help, don't the right help? Yeah. He said, well, how many eyes do you have? I have two. One on the right side and one on the left. He said, don't both of them help each other? I said, yeah, that's true. He said, the rich was created to help the poor. And the poor was created to help the rich. You see? Because the poor will show the rich who a higher is. And the rich will show the poor what a higher has given them to give them. So when the rich give to the poor, it's helping the poor in the needs in which a higher sees fit and sees. And then the poor will say, surely God sent somebody here to help me. And the rich will say, surely me giving to them, I'm seeing God through them. Because it changed the heart of the rich when they give to the poor. See, y'all gone. Y'all gone. See, the people don't understand that. See the selfishness and the high-minded and high pride. I had to ask him this because I was going under the bridges by myself. I was going nighttime. I didn't care. I went out there. But I wanted to understand from the Father, what is this thing with these poor people out here? He said, Deborah, they're out there for a reason. I said, but why would you create them to be poor and then have these wealthy over here to be rich? He said they're supposed to help one another. They work hand in hand with each other. That's when he started telling me about my left hand, my right hand, my eyes. They work together. So the rich gives to the poor, okay, so that they can receive a higher. It makes them feel better. Their money can make them feel better than giving to the poor. The poor has a higher to give unto them. Okay? And the rich have the substance to give unto the poor from a higher. It makes all the sense in the world. And you can write it down and you can rap it down. You can speak it down. You can write a book about it and it'll blow your mind. You'll say, well, wait a minute. It makes sense. That's why he got rich and he got poor. They were supposed to work together. And that's the will of the Father. But when sin is so heavily and high, the rich get greed. And they don't want to help the poor. And the poor don't see the rich nowhere in sight. So it's not getting anything from Yah, from the poor, from the rich. And the rich ain't getting anything from Yah out of the love, which we say give and gave. See, both of them is given and gave. And where's the giving and gave coming from? Ahia. Both of them are there for that reason, to give and gave to one another. For who? Ahia. You see how messed up we are? And that's the mindset I have about people who think it's a crime. And Father say you can give to anybody that you love. Your family members, your friend, your boyfriend, your wife, your husband. It's easy to give to them. But how you say, I ain't calling you to give to them. I'm calling you to see who you can give to he that you don't know. And you don't, in a sense, care for. But people don't see that. They see it the opposite way. And that's where greed and how would I say it? Boasting. I'm better. I have more. You know, and then that's when that control come into play. The last thing you want on this earth is control. Never want to capture control. Ever. You don't want to ever be in control over nobody. Because you first have to be in control over the spirits that's in the midst of them. Because they have them. And you don't want to be in control over that. So I have a lot of verses here. And I thank the Most High for. I want to go to 2 Corinthians chapter 12. Let's go there. 2 Corinthians in chapter 12. And somewhere along the line, you know what? That's what I'm going to start doing a lot of praying that the Father tune me down so I don't have to be on these platforms at 2 hours. Okay, 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 9. And it reads, and he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. In weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ might rest upon me. Glorying in your infirmities. Now watch this here. My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. In weakness. His strength is made perfect when you are weak. You have to bring yourself low for him to elevate himself in you the way that he desires. Because as long as we think we up here and everybody else down here, me, my, we, in my clique, let me tell you, that's not it. When you are made perfect in weakness, y'all, not in your strength. His strength is made perfect in you being weak, in your weakness. Meaning you looking for him to make you strong. But if you think that you got everything it takes to build up on yourself, good luck to you. Now, what else is verse 10? And no, let me finish that. And it said, most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Praise the mighty Yah. Verse 10, therefore I take pleasure in my infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in prosecution, in distress, for the power's sake, for Christ's sake, which is the power. For when I am weak, then I am strong. When I am weak, then I am strong. When I am weak, then I am strong. Now, not when you are offended, okay, and show weakness and dysfunction. That's wicked and evil. When you are offended, you show weakness and dysfunction. That's evil. It's when he says this way, my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I remember glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore, I take pleasure in my infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in prosecution, in stress, for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong. For the power of Christ's sake, not from your flesh weakness and dysfunction, because you get offended so easily. Okay, that's what they're saying. Okay, now when you go to this will be the last one, because he just looking at me. He looking at me. Okay, I stop it. He just looking at me. I got to let this animal go to bed somewhere, because he just let's go to Ecclesiastes. Let's go there and see what it's talking about. Let's go and see what Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 20 to 24. And we're going to end here. Verse 20, chapter 7, verse 20 and 24. 20 and 24 through 24. For there is not a just man upon the earth that doeth good and sinneth not. Let's go over that again. For there is not a just man upon the earth that doeth good and sinneth not. Also, take no heed unto all words that are spoken. Now listen to what it's saying now. Also, take no heed unto all words that are spoken, lest thou hear thy servant curse thee. Verse 22. For oftentimes also thy own heart knoweth that thou thyself likewise has cursed others. He's like saying, don't try to measure one to be sinless, or where he says, and do it good and sin it not. Don't go trying to put that and cap that on nobody. Don't go putting that on nobody, because when you start to put that on somebody, or on yourself, you guess what? It tells you in 22. Oftentimes also thy own heart knoweth that thyself likewise has cursed others. So we thinking that people are cursing people and others, and he's saying you've done the same thing. So don't go trying to place other people a place in where you trying to make yourself exempt, because it's not nobody. He didn't say in here, but it's the other verse where no man is perfect, but do it good and sin it not. There is not a just man upon the earth that do it good and sin it not. You ain't gonna find him. You ain't gonna find him. So don't go trying to lock that in on people that's teaching spirit and truth, or teaching the light, and thinking you're going to be able to say, when she should be able to do this and she should be able to do that. Oh, she's supposed to be like this. She's supposed to say this. She's not supposed to say that. She's not supposed to be offended. She's not supposed to be sit your tail down and stop that line. And that's why he said here in verse 22, for oftentimes also thy own heart knoweth that thou thyself likewise have cursed others. So when you're trying to pretend that somebody else or offending you, or somebody else ain't all that they say that they are. Oh, she's supposed to be a prophet, and she said this. She said, you sick. You sick. He done already told us, ain't nobody perfect. Everybody have sinned. And anybody said they haven't, the truth is not in them. So when people ain't not saying what everybody want, or you wants to find a fault in the individual, you found the fault way back. Before you even went to my house, you found the fault. The Father said the fault was already there. So it ain't nothing new under the sun. You see? So it's what Sister Deborah is wanting to reveal and put out there so the wind can catch it and swing it wherever it needs to go because it's off of me. You see, that's it with me. I'm not going to cover this topic. I'm not going to surround this situation. I'm finished. I am finished with it. And I want you to think, I want you all to know this. Sister Deborah is not in need for anything. And it's not in need for anything. Y'all talking to a sister that the Father say, live your daily bread. And not only did he say it, he taught me how. So therefore, it's things that, remember I told you I had this store, don't make no money at all. So what? Live your daily bread. Why? Because you know that you can always look at him and see how he have always brought you through. Somebody that depends on a higher 24/24, they ain't got time to sit and be trying to build up treasures on this earth when they trusted in the treasure that rests within to take care of them daily. So don't get bent out of order or out of place because Sister Deborah have said something regarding supporting. Let me ask you a question. Greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. How could somebody else support override that? How can anything override that? It can't, y'all. So all this mind thing that people thinking that they can role play on, let me tell you, y'all need to stop clowning and get under the Most High or higher. Tarry for him and make sure he come into your closet by staying your butt in there until he bless you. And stop running around here getting so offended by every word Sister Deborah is saying. And a lot of times the shoe wasn't even for you. You just put it on because you're so used to everybody saying something, always offending you. And that is, understand, that is a weakness and a dysfunction in your flesh that you need to deal with. You need to pray about that the Most High deliver you from. You really do. You need to really pray about that because that's not a situation that you want to continue to live. I have another verse, one more, and I think I'm going to end it here. And that's Luke 7. It's looking at me like, Deborah, you didn't read me. Let's go to Luke chapter 7, verse 22. I appreciate each and every last one of you tuning in. And even the ones that I have offended, I like to say, I apologize if you found the words in which was spoken out of the prophet's mouth based on the book itself and the spirit of the Most High Yah. If you are offended, I am apologizing that your hurt is so deep. But you better move on, baby. You better move on because it'll take you down. Okay? People don't even understand when you play in that type of pool, all kind of things come up on your body. You see? Because you're playing into something that you shouldn't be playing in. It ain't even all that serious. And then they want to play on everything that's going on. That's why it's going on. In your household, in your body, in your workplace, and everywhere else. It's because of what you doing, who you are. And a lot of times you look like those on the left and those on the right, but you need to check yourself out. We all do. Luke chapter 7, verse 22. And even Sister Deborah, we need to check ourselves daily. Make sure we in the right place with the Most Higher. And if we're not, we need to repent. We need to turn to his face. And this is going to be the end. This is the end of this message. And like I say, I will say this. I appreciate each and every last one of you all who have donated. Okay. But I want you to also understand when you donate, take what he say serious and he'll come in your house and bless you. But if you take it out of the offended and take it out of what somebody telling you to do, that's not how a higher works. You have to take it with believing that if I do this, this is what a higher is building up on me. A lot of people wonder why it's a struggle and it's a circle of over and over and over. It's because there's no faith that says, okay, I'm going to donate this And I know what you already said. He that giveth unto the prophet receive a prophet reward. Father, you say if I give, my treasures it's laid up in heaven. And in this process of quoting his word, he'll bless you down here today. And that's why I think it's kind of sad on his behalf. I feel sad for him because they don't trust nothing he have said and how you can even gain your healing, how you can gain situations in your household, how you can gain your husband being born again, or how you can gain your wife being born again, how you can gain a higher saving your children, letting your children be the one already on in the Lamb Book of Life. Y'all just don't understand. This is not about clowning and finding things to find weakness. Don't do that. That's not a nice thing. Luke chapter 7, verse 22. And it reads, Then Yeshua answered and said unto them, Go your way and tell John, or this is the same thing. Okay, this is the same thing about him saying in 23, and blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. See, he had to, and you know what? He said that so many times in the New Testament, it'll blow your head off. In Matthews, Luke, Mark, and John, telling them, trying to tell them, don't be offended, don't get offended. But these people here, they still got offended. So you think Sister Deborah is feeling some sort of way because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever gets offended because she's telling you how you build up your treasures in the heavens, how a higher will bless you, you give unto a prophet, and bless you if you give unto a righteous one. What's wrong with knowing his blessing work like that? This is where you know you got some weak-minded and dysfunctional mindsets to the utmost. You see? And people thinking if you deny something that someone that are higher, that's a servant of the higher, you ain't denying Sister Deborah. You're denying the Most High or higher. And that shows me the sickness is deeper than, like he said, the sight of what you shall see. So I, Sister Deborah, hope that each and every last one of you all got something out of that. And like I say, I appreciate each and one of you all tuning in. And I would say that I hope you really go to the scriptures and also dig in a little deep, because this here is deep. And I'm not going to, I started to say I will do that video of that guy, and I can't even explain where he come from. I look for him just to get, but then the Father said, don't keep it going over this lesson. You don't have to keep proving nothing to these people. You don't owe nothing to them, as they don't owe nothing to you. But I say unto you, he said, you owe it to him. So I, Sister Deborah, say shalom.